Well, hello everybody. Welcome to week 6 of Communication Studies. I hope you were able to enjoy your week off for General Conference. I know my wife and I made the trip to Louisville, Kentucky and had a really good time. We're able to catch up with some old friends, spend some time with some folks that we only get to see once a year, and hear some dynamic, powerful preaching. If you did not get a chance to maybe watch the Facebook Live or our live stream those services and you can obtain a copy of them, I highly recommend. Every speaker did a great job. Brother Jerry Jones just hit it out of the park, and you owe it to yourself to listen to that message. Brother Bernard did a great job on Friday night. I couldn't say enough good about General Conference. I hope you enjoyed your week because I enjoyed mine. Now back to reality. And this week you have a unit test. It is, we'll cover chapters 4 and 5. And in light of the fact that I never uploaded a review guide for chapter 5, I am going to shorten today's lecture and we'll take the time to review some of the material that's going to be on the test. So you'll do well to watch these lectures all the way through, and you'll gather pertinent information for the test that you'll be taking this week. All right, so first let's get into this chapter. In the span of your lifetime, media and communications technology have been dramatically transformed. And chapter 6 considers what it means to live in a wired world where small incidents can become huge incidents, and where both cruelty and kindness can be communicated indirectly and instantly, and where your worst nightmare can become a viral video and spread around the entire world. These digital communication technologies are referred to as new media, and they're called that in order to distinguish them from traditional media. Traditional media would be things like radio, television, and print media, and we distinguish digital media from those more analog, older, traditional forms of media. So new media describes a transmission of digital data, where snail mail is traditional, email is new media. Where a traditional cable news broadcast would be considered traditional media, a YouTube broadcast would be considered new media. And it used to be that the traditional media were the gatekeepers. They controlled everything. They broadcast everything. If you wanted to reach the world, you had to do it through those avenues. But now with digitized media, new media, somebody sitting in their mama's basement can reach the entire world without the help of CNN or Fox News or anybody else, just with a YouTube channel. And so it is a powerful new media that has the ability to transform everything. Now, I will not cover all the concepts in this chapter because I want to spend some time on review for the unit test. But you will be responsible for all the information that's in this chapter, and it's an important chapter. This chapter establishes the groundwork for the rest of the book. For our purposes, we will divide new media into 2 categories: personal media and user-generated media. Now, personal media is devices and platforms that allow us to create and maintain social networks. User-generated media are platforms that allow us to broadcast messages to mass audience. And the next several chapters of the book are going to deal with personal media. Then in chapter 11, we're going to make the transition to user-generated media. So these 2 topics, or these 2 themes, are going to dominate the rest of this class. Now, every technology has its own characteristics, properties that allow individuals to take actions that are unique to that technology. These characteristics, popularly referred to as affordances, define the way a technology is used as well as its benefits and challenges. Now, in the case of communication technologies, affordances center on the nature of the messages we create as we interact with and through a given technology. When we communicate via new media, We create messages that are persistent, visible, spreadable, and searchable. And those 4 characteristics matter. First of all, persistence. Not all messages can stand the test of time. I collect old books, and behind me you'll see some books. Some of them are 200 years old. But it's difficult to find a book that's 200 years old because that traditional media doesn't survive the ages without some wear and tear and deterioration. And so not all messages have the ability to stand the test of time. American books are really not the best example. The unrecorded spoken word is a fleeting thing. Once it's spoken, it vanishes. It cannot be reaccessed. It cannot be. You can recall it from your memory, but you can't call it back and hear it again. And so if you don't catch the subtle nuances of the way something is said initially, there's no way to go back and recapture that. It's impossible to re-examine it. It's possible to go back and share that communication with someone else. And so it's always going to be filtered through memory, and memory has the potential to corrupt it. And so that is a communication that's very brief. There are other forms of communication, like, say, a love letter or a greeting card that last a little longer. You may hang on to them. My wife still has every card I ever sent her while we were dating, every letter I ever wrote her. Though my penmanship was terrible, and though the papers may be old, the ink may be a little faded, they're still preserved, and our kids and grandkids, maybe one of these days, will take the time to look at that and get a little insight into her life and mine. They can be saved. They can be looked at again and again until eventually they get lost to time. Those messages are temporary. However, new media messages exhibit persistence. Texts that can theoretically be deleted are saved somewhere on a server. Online photos and messages, even when you go back and erase them, can always be restored and reclaimed. So a thoughtless message that wasn't meant to last may come back and haunt you years and years later. Something that you posted that you didn't even think in the moment what you were doing, and quickly went back and a day or so later realized and deleted it, that thing may come back again, because these are the kind of messages that have persistence. There was a murder case in our community a year or two ago, high-profile murder, and they caught the perpetrators because they texted one another about what they were doing to conceal the body and all that. The whole communication, they went through, both of them, and deleted their text messages. They made sure there was no record of this communication that they had between one another as they reasoned out what to do next. But the police were able to go in and get a search warrant and access servers and that these people had no idea existed. And all of a sudden, all of those deleted text messages are entered into evidence, and they were convicted of a crime. So what you say and what you do and what you broadcast in new media has a persistence to it. It also has a large amount of visibility. Some messages are only seen by a few people. Others have more visibility. A whispered comment to a close friend has low visibility. It's shared by only 2 people. A photo that you might show around, that's not visible to a larger audience. But whenever we put something online, when we put a picture on our Facebook page, or we put something out on Twitter, or whatever social media, Instagram, whatever social media platform you use, that has the potential to reach hundreds of people. It's highly visible. And so when we communicate with our Facebook friends, or we communicate with Instagram, or we communicate with fellow Twitter users, we're no longer engaged in private one-to-one communication. We've entered a whole new realm of public, many-to-many communication. And sometimes it's hard to remember that when we use new media, we can never be sure who our audience is.